5'6". That's my height. My dad is fairly tall, but my mom is really short, and I get a lot from her side of the family. Acid reflux, bad sleep cycles, and my shortness. It's never really bothered me much, but I recently found myself down that particular rabbit hole. A lot of people claim heightism is just as bad as racism or sexism. But is it really? Is height discrimination an actual thing? Let's take a crack at it. I did an experiment on the dating app OkCupid. I originally listed my height as 5'7", and I didn't get any matches. On average, about one a week. I sent a message to all of these matches, but only 20% replied. Then I changed my height to 6'1", and I got 3 times more matches. And I got replies 50% of the time. Unfortunately, many women in London won't date anyone under 6 feet. Chris, 5'7". If you're a short guy, you might have trouble finding dates.
Why is he so small? It's really bothering me.
This goes for straight guys, gay guys, and trans guys, but you most often hear stories from straight shorties. It's a phenomenon that's intertwined with women's natural inclination to seek partners who can eat the leaves off the top of the trees. Oh, wait, that's giraffes. Straight women typically want to feel protected in a relationship. It's not really a conscious thing, it's a biological drive influencing their decision-making. Similar to how most men often go for a woman with larger chest and hips, women tend to look for the tall boys. That's how it's been for millennia, and that's how it will be, probably forever. You know, it's fine to say that it's all because of biology, but remember, according to biology, women are built to pop out babies, and men are built to have multiple partners. So maybe we should leave those biological drives behind and try to rise above them. Or at the very least, we shouldn't be reducing ourselves to cavemen in order to justify wanting to touch some coconuts. From what I've heard, short guys typically understand this. Like, yeah, it makes sense why most women would prefer a man who's taller than her. Where we run into a problem is when that preference turns into a requirement. For example, a man wants a girl with a big butt. Sure, biologically, it kinda makes sense as a secondary sex characteristic. But we're not cavemen. We understand that it's something that's cool to have, but if you meet someone with a small butt who's really nice, emotionally mature, and takes the time to listen to your problems, then a big butt is kind of gone from the conversation. Yeah, I'd take it or leave it at this point. The physical characteristic isn't a deal breaker because it doesn't matter in the long run. It doesn't affect your ability to actually have kids. That's why a lot of short guys feel the current balance is kind of unfair. He has to be at least this many Wheatleys tall, or he's not even worth talking to.
Kill yourself. There.
Not all women, obviously, but the ones who are on dating apps are typically just looking for a hookup or they're looking to reject someone. And for them, short guys just don't really have the right vibes for the bedroom. I mean, that's up to them. Whatever. That's just my take on it. But to round out this point, I have some short guys and girls here that put it into their own words. On a recent night out, a woman in my group rejected a man by barking, "He's too short." When we suggested she shouldn't have said so out loud, she countered with, "But the patriarchy." It often feels like women's anger at men is misdirected towards their height. You know, to me, it just sounds like that particular girl is drinking the Coke juice. Someone broke her heart and she wants to take it out on another guy. It's important to remember that while I may be relaying these stories to you, they're picked from probably hundreds of responses, because these ones are probably the worst ones. If you ask a woman out in the wild what they think of short men, most of them aren't finding this bizarre connection between shorties and the patriarchy. Most of them will probably say, if he's nice enough, or if he's got a good personality. Most people are reasonable people. Statistics from the dating app Bumble suggest more women want to date someone who is 7 feet tall than someone who is 5'11". Apart from anything else, this is not good for anyone's necks. And yet, the average height of a man in the UK is under 5'10". Even stranger is the fact that the 6-foot requirement results purely from the quirks of the UK's imperial measurement system. You know, women in the Czech Republic don't only lust after men only 182.88 centimeters tall. So hey, there's a hot tip. Maybe us short guys should be measuring ourselves with the metric system, because most Westerners won't know if it's over 6 feet or not. If you're on a date with a girl and she says something like, "Oh, you're perfect, but I wish you were taller," there's a few ways you can respond. You could be a dick about it and say, "Oh, you're perfect, but I wish you were thinner." Don't do that. Everyone's gonna leave the date upset. No, what you should do instead is thank them for their honesty, and also thank them that they've made it much easier on you to stop seeing them. Like, do you really want to date someone who cares about height? Probably not. All they've done is clearly communicated that you two would not work out. No big deal. Better for you to find out now than months down the line. But for some women, it's not about biology. It's about narcissism. A study published earlier this month was the latest to suggest the existence of short man syndrome. It claimed that being a short man increases propensity towards traits such as psychopathy and narcissism. Previous research has suggested short men are wired to be hot-tempered to compensate for their height. I'm not sure how reliable such studies are, but in a way that's not the point, as the theory has become widespread. Speak to young single women about why they go for tall guys, and they'll often bring up a date who was constantly trying to prove himself to compensate for his lack of stature, or who lied about his height on a dating app. Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves with a chicken or the egg situation. Which came first? Women rejecting short men because they obsess over height? Or men obsessing over height because they're getting rejected for it? The answer is both. They both popped into the cultural zeitgeist at the same time. So the only real solution is to leave the cycle. If you're a short guy, make a conscious effort to squash your insecurities and respond to every rejection with, her loss. Women, make a conscious effort to not automatically reject a guy because he's a little bit short. Yeah, I understand, your girlfriends might make fun of you, but if he's a genuinely great guy, then they're only making fun of you because they're jealous you found someone who doesn't treat you like garbage. Basically, instead of playing the blame game, let's just say it's on both of us to stop doing it, Cold War style. And hey, some girls do have a thing for shorter men. This is from someone else's experience. My 6-foot-tall ex had a bit of a thing for shorter men. She probably felt safer with them, having had a difficult relationship with her very tall father. And I think she was amused by other people's reactions. It took me a while to get used to it, but I came to regard all the sideways glances and whispers as rather complimentary, as everyone obviously thought there must have been something especially good about me. I am who I am because of my height. It's given me this willingness to take risks that I call my parachute syndrome. In a terrifying situation, even though I may be terrified just like everyone else, my reaction is often, "Oh, well, I'm standing at the door of this airplane. Might as well jump out. What's the worst that could happen?" Alan, 5'2". There's actually a lot of benefits to being short that people often overlook. Extra legroom in the backseat and on an airplane. Low-hanging ceilings are no problem. Fewer back problems, as there's less stress on your back in general. People won't give you arbitrary expectations like they do tall people. You aren't expected to be some athletic god, and can more easily choose your path in life. A twin-size bed feels like a king-size bed. Your professional opponents might underestimate you, which can give you the advantage. You'll always win hide and seek. If you're running from the police, it'll make it easier to fade into a crowd. And my personal favorite, spoken by Black B and TMG in their video Short King's Anthem. Quote, "I could suck a titty while I'm standing up." Yeah, this was a short chapter, but if we've learned anything today, it's that being short doesn't mean it's bad. I don't have a story to go along with this one, but it's such an interesting concept, I felt it was worth sharing. There's a surprising amount of fashion advice out there for short men. Number 1, embrace vertical stripes. Vertical stripes create an illusion of height. Opt for shirts, t-shirts, or even blazers with vertical stripes. Ensure these stripes are proportionate to your build, not too broad or too thin. Lighter hues with subtle stripes can be especially flattering. Pinstripe suits and striped shirts will boost your confidence. Number 2, opt for high-waisted trousers. Wearing high-waisted trousers lengthens the leg line. This optical illusion makes you appear taller by making the lower half of your body look longer. Pair these with a well-fitted premium dress shirt or t-shirt, and you have a classic, height-enhancing look. In order to ensure that the trousers are high-waisted, opt for custom pants so you can specify them. Number 3, keep it streamlined. Choose clothing with a slim fit that follows the contours of your body. Too much fabric will overwhelm your frame, while too little will exaggerate its dimensions. Tailoring is your friend. Invest in well-fitted pieces that make you feel sharp. Number 4, harness accessory proportions. Opt for smaller, streamlined accessories. A modestly sized watch, a slim wallet, and a narrow tie clip can make a difference. Avoid large, bulky items that can dwarf your frame. Even your glasses frames should be in proportion to your face. Number 5, master the tuck. Tucking in your shirt can make a big difference. It not only makes you look neat, but also creates a distinct upper and lower body division, which helps in giving an impression of height. Experiment with a partial tuck for a more casual, yet polished look. There's more advice on this particular website, which you can find a link to in the description of this video. I'm not someone who pays too much attention to their fashion, but I think I might try some of these out. Things like striped shirts are easy to implement and are usually at a pretty low cost. Women get the opposite problem that short men do. Tall women often find guys that don't want to date them because they don't want their girlfriends or wives to be taller than they are. Someone who doesn't ask them to try to play down their height or doesn't throw a fit if they decide to wear their favorite heels, that's going to be a welcome change from what they usually hear. From Dr. Nerdlove. Sure, short guys may be getting the short end of the stick, but what about tall women? Same problem, actually. Author Paulette shares her struggles. As I watched MTV as a child, I awaited being that girl in the bikini top sitting on my boyfriend's shoulders at the concerts. My DNA had other plans. I joined cheerleading, thinking of being raised in the air atop a human pyramid, my pom-poms rustling in the lights. Instead, I got my hands in the dirt and some skinny girl's knee in my back. So I tried to make my height okay by going to one of those fake "we'll make your kid a model" seminars in middle school. Luckily, my family didn't have enough money to participate in the scheme. I found zero purpose to assign my bigness, except when someone needed a jar off the highest shelf. By middle school, I was taller than the girls and the boys. In the time I most wanted to hide, I felt most exposed, the top inches of my head looming over the crowd. All the girls started trading shoes before school, but instead of trading with Amber or Pam, I had to trade with Charles. My pictures with my friends at the 8th grade dance look like forced perspective, as if I'm somehow a meter closer to the camera. By high school, I was as tall as the average American man, 10 centimeters taller than the average American woman. My psychology teacher, who should have best understood the mental ramifications, gave me the nickname Big Blonde Amazon, which turned out to be quite catchy. On my senior trip to Mexico, all my friends bought anklets from a kid on the street. He tried one around my leg and looked up, shook his head solemnly. I bought a bracelet instead. As we were souvenir shopping, a man sweeping in the store saw me, dropped his broom, and, raising his 2 hands up in awe, said, "You so huge? You realize when you're big how many female fantasies involve being lifted in the air, playing chicken in the pool, being carried over the threshold, the entire plot of Dirty Dancing. It's hard to date when you're so damn tall. Can someone tell me why men evolved to prefer tiny women? I'd be more useful taking down a buffalo. But no man wants to be the little spoon. No guy is like, "Oh girl, you got a body like a B. Arthur." Now, as easy as it would be for me to go full Markiplier for Lady Dimitrescu here, I will acknowledge that most men who want to date tall women are looking at her like a sex object. For a lot of emotionally modern men secure in their masculinity, it's a fantasy to be dominated by a tall woman. So, Paulette, while I think you will absolutely be able to find a date if you know who to approach, I will concede that you're probably having trouble finding a long-term partner who isn't just fantasizing about what you do in the bedroom. But there are genuinely good reasons why you, as a short man, should date a tall woman. Consider this. You're both obviously emotionally mature enough to not be bothered by your partner's physical attributes, which is just about the best dynamic you can use to build a healthy relationship. It might take some getting used to, but you'd be a total power couple in the eyes of your friends. And Halloween's gonna be really fun. Morticia, Gomez, the Powerpuff Girls mayor, Miss Bellum, Tom Cruise, and any woman. There's a lot of characters out there you can do. Even gender swap your outfits if you want. And I'm sorry for the Tom Cruise joke. It's kind of antithetical to this whole video's message, but come on. I had to throw at least one in there. This picture is edited, obviously. And yeah, okay, the bland vanilla sex might be a little difficult, but you really gotta open up your mind when it comes to bedroom activities. I can think of 5 hot positions off the top of my head that'll make for great sex for a short guy. As for those non-sexual fantasies like being lifted off your feet, you can still pull it off if he's muscular. I mean, shit, might as well be a barbell for him to get swole. The point is, I totally sympathize with a height difference like this. Like I said at the beginning, I'm also a short guy at 5'6", but I'm not gonna let that stop me. You just watch. I'm gonna come home with a 7-foot goth girl on my shoulder. Or I guess I'd be on her shoulder. And you are too. So don't give up, short kings and tall queens, because there will always be someone out there for you. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to see me talk about this topic some more, let me know. I'd love to do a video on my second channel about the sex dynamics when you have a short guy and a tall girl. It might actually help some couples struggling with their differences. Don't forget, we've also got a Patreon with exclusive benefits. For only $5 a month, you'll get every video a day early. You'll see behind-the-scenes updates for future videos, and a monthly video that's only for $5 members. This month, I think I'm gonna do a playthrough of a game. It might be a Portal game, it might be a Shantae game. There's a lot of stuff that I love that I haven't played on the channel yet. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. I love you all. Good night.